Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will present to you the iFleet Internal System Management, presented by Amirul Iman bin Ahmed Kefli, myself, the supervisor from Dr. Adila binti Firdaus Arba'in. The iFleet Internal System Management, we go to the project overview, which is we will have five highlight point, which is the introduction, literature review, methodology project, requirement and analysis design, and the conclusion. The introduction, which is the iFleet Internal System Management, is a software platform which the purpose is to help the fleet business mostly focus in the internal part, which consists of fuel consumption management, license management, maintenance management, and logbook management. So let's get started. Firstly, we will go to the problem background. The problem background, which is firstly the high cost. The fleet vehicle business is very difficult, especially with the bigger financial budgeting and cost operation, bigger operation coverage, and bigger fleet vehicle operation. The larger the fleet, the more the complex and costly the operation becomes. The financial budgeting of the fleet owner need to allocate funds for fuel consumption, maintenance, licensing. Additionally, there are ongoing expenses such as fuel, maintenance, repair, and cost of the operation. Next, we go to the maintenance app relies on manual process and paperwork. The paperwork for maintenance can be time consuming and slow down the overall process. Technicians need to manually fill out the form, which can be tedious and take away valuable time that could be spent on actual maintenance tasks. Moreover, this paper report need to be physically transported to the appropriate department or individual for review and process, leading to the delay in the response of time. Next, the time consuming. Transferring document and inputting data can inherently time consuming, which can lead to the delays of the maintenance report and response. Next, the less productivity as the resource allocation, which is can lead to the back of the resource allocation. As time consuming make the task take time a longer and underutilization of fleet vehicle equipment and human resource. The lack of the data as the lack of the data because inaccuracy resulting incomplete and unreliable data which will make harder for the decision making process. So we go to the objective. The objective of the iFleet internal system management, firstly, is to elicit the requirement from the stakeholder to develop and design a mobile app platform for the iFleet management, which is consists we need to create a mobile platform that can be used for the driver, worker, and the managers, and you have the friendly and easy to navigate use UI. Next is the design and to develop mobile platform that can handle all the iFleet software module to ease the user task on using the system. So we want to create a user mobile platform that can help the driver using the mobile platform only to help to manage their fleet operation and to help the maintenance and logistic. Lastly, testing and debugging the functionality of the features in the mobile application system. After we have successfully create the prototype and successfully create the system, we want to test and debug the system to make sure there are no error or system failure can happen. So does not happen when we launch the product to the fleet organization. So the project scope, which consists of four from the logbook management to access the logbook and work time, the maintenance to help the drivers in the process of maintenance through reporting it electronically, fuel management, log fuel to see how fuel contribute to operating costs, and lastly, license management. It's enable handling and access to the license management, including special provision. Literature review. The iFleet Management Internet System literature focus on the differentiation of the current system with the purpose of system and technology used for developing the system. So this is the comparison between the existing system, which is we will compare with the Geotech and Fletio, which is very famous in the fleet organization. As we can see, it will have quite the same features and features that have been introduced, which is queue management, logbook management, and maintenance. The difference is they do not have the lesson management, but we propose the lesson management because we found out that it is very important for the lesson management as different industry and jurisdiction have specific licensing requirement the business must adhere. Next, to valid the listing demonstrate that a business is authorized to operate and provide proof of its credibility and legitimacy. Next, we go to the project goal, which is the firstly to the internal iFleet management system make use of mobile technology to allow fleet manager and driver to communicate in real time. Second, enterprise architecture blueprint or model for organization, structure, process, and technology infrastructure and support. So by using the EA, we will use it to help to create the documentation of the diagram and the structure diagram. Next, the thirdly, which is we will use the Android Studio as the IDE to help develop the Android mobile application. The methodology. The system development principle for the project to achieve the objective and become a guidance for the developer in the making of iFleet management internal system is through a detailed understanding of the system development process. So the phase starting from the planning, which is the first is planning will be planning phase where the phase for elicit the objective, scope, and stakeholder. So project team need to identify and clarify what the project objective, so it can have a common understanding of the desired outcome, goals, and benefit. Next is to identify what is need to include and excluded in the project. Lastly, to make sure that the stakeholder can have the same understanding on the system that need to be developed. Next, the phase two, which is requirement gathering and analysis. So based on the stakeholder requirement, we need to elicit and to make sure we can identify what the functional and non-functional requirement that we can use to help us to create the fit system, how to make sure how the system can work. Next, the design and architecture, which is the phase three, which is using the UML diagram to give visualization of the system and to redesign the SRS, SDD, UAT to meet the requirement needed for the system. Next, the development on testing, which is the developer will start to develop the system and deployment and user acceptance as the production of the system can start at the early process and maintenance and support for the developers to monitor the system in the early production deployment to see error and to debug the error for the maintenance. And the hardware requirement, which is the processor from the i5 to i9, which is at least have 1.5 gigahertz. And OS will mostly provide both Windows users and Mac OS for the minimum of Xcode uses of the IDE. The RAM will be 8 gigabyte memory capacity and hopefully can have the storage of 1 terabyte storage or more. The hardware requirement for the smartphone, which is have 32 gigabyte memory for the store of the file, app, and system. The RAM will need to have 3 gigabyte RAM to support the mobile application. So for the software requirement for development of the system, which is we need to EA as a tool to design and develop the SDD and SRS for the UML diagram, the Dart development kit for the programming language to develop the mobile application, UI tool to build the mobile application, Android SDK to provide libraries, and AVD to a virtual device to debug the code. Requirement and analysis for the this is the use case diagram, which is consists of 20 use case, and the package diagram will consist of the MVC, which have the lesson management, fuel maintenance, and logbook. And this is the prototype example like fuel entry, delete maintenance, insert fuel. And as the conclusion, we can see success to a great mobile application where driver do not need to manually update, implement the iFleet that can help the driver in their work in the fleet operation, and the improvement in the security of data and enhance reporting and analyze features. So I think that's all from me. Thank you to all of you.